We begin this morning with a Fox News alert. Overnight, Israel launching sweeping strikes against Iran, targeting its nuclear facilities, military sites, and top commanders.
Several Iranian military leaders and nuclear scientists believed to be dead, and right now Israel is beginning to intercept drones sent from Iran in retaliation. But Israel says this is just the beginning of their operation.
Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight,
I mean, you can't blame them that much for that, can
Israel
you?
backs those words with action.
Let's be honest.
You are watching a special 4 a.m. edition of Fox and Friends First on this Friday morning. I'm Carly Shimkus.
And I'm Todd Pyro. Alex Hogan, live in Israel, joins us now with the very latest. Alex.
Hi, Carly and Todd. Israel says that it has identified as many as 100 drones launched by Iran heading toward Israeli airspace. And Israel says that it has started to at least attempt to shoot down some of those drones.
I guess Iran is really big, so it's harder to defend. But it seems like every time that something comes towards Israel, Israel knows about it. Meanwhile, Israel is building bases in Iran, and Iran doesn't know about it.
Syrian airspace as Jordan is attempting to take down some of the drones that are above its airspace. At the same time, we just got this new alert from Israel's home command urging people that they do not need to stay as close to shelters as they had been in the previous hours, indicating that Israel and the Israeli Defense Force believe at this point that they will be able to take out the incoming threat as we await what could be these waves of drones sent over anytime this hour. All of this follows what happened earlier this morning when Israel says it targeted
USA intelligence
the heart
with Israel, best
of
intelligence
Iran's
in the world.
Nuclear
Yeah,
capabilities
but it's like
in an
not
operation
even
it calls Rising Lion.
Yeah, it's not even remotely
The Jewish
close.
state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. When someone comes to kill you, rise and act first. This is exactly what Israel has done today. We have risen like lions to defend ourselves.
Israel says it used more than 200 fighter jets to hit over 100 targets across Iran. In Iran, multiple explosions were heard near the Natanz nuclear power facility. There are reports this morning
It's not
that
wrong.
center.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if Trump said that about a country threatening America, I think a lot of people would be saying, yeah, true, do it.
Has been completely destroyed, although the International Atomic Energy Agency says that there has been no increase in the radiation levels at that facility. Fires broke out across Iran. Iranian state media today say that 3 military commanders in the Iranian regime were killed. 6 nuclear scientists were also killed. And Washington quickly responding. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying, quote, "We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region." President Trump also telling our Brett Baier, quote, "Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, and we are hoping to get back to the negotiation table. We will see." There are several people in leadership that will not be coming back. It was around
several people that aren't going to be negotiating again. And why is that?
Around 3 a.m. this morning when sirens blared across Israel, waking up millions of people, telling them to get into shelters as quickly as possible. The defense minister quickly declared a special state of emergency after this elaborate strike, again, anticipating that there would be this Iranian attack. The IDF is also mobilizing thousands of troops as well as reservists because of this incoming strike that we are expecting. But there is, of course, that caution that we are hearing from Home Front Command.
Somebody says, for example, how many think would agree if we bombed all the cartel leaders in Mexico? I mean, as far as I know, Sicario was so popular, they made a second one. So, I mean, I think that pretty much says a lot by itself.
And that people can stay a little bit further away from shelters, not gathering in any public places. It is the weekend. Normally, we would see this area, Carly and Todd, packed with people. No one is here except for people who have been going out to get groceries and stock up on water. Carly, Todd.
Yeah, getting all the essentials. And Alex, it is welcome news that you just reported that Israel does think that they can take out those 100 drones that Iran launched towards Israel so that people can potentially move about more freely than what they may have previously expected today. But the Israeli
and they already said by this point, now they're able to just go out. Like, they didn't even say you have to be under shelter anymore. I mean, there might be a third wave of bombs, but it seems like that's not even going to happen at this
Alex,
point.
You know, they've been through so much. This war in Gaza now over 600 days old. So now that you're on the ground in Israel, what can you tell us about how this strike is being received by the Israeli people?
Well, they're probably happy.
Well, this came as quite a shock. Of course, people who have lived here, people who are from here, they are used to going to the shelters. They are used to hearing the sounds of sirens, getting those alerts that we receive on our phones, telling us exactly what is happening and who is launching a strike, whether that is coming from Hamas, if it was Hezbollah previously before the ceasefire up in the north, or the Houthis in Yemen. When people went to the shelters this morning, it wasn't until later that they received the notification from the government that this was in fact in anticipation of an Iranian response after their preemptive strike. So there is a level of exhaustion that people are feeling after being at war for so long and now seeing something potentially escalate. There's also the feeling at the same time.
That's the way I think a lot of Americans feel. Like, I've seen a tremendous amount of American sentiment, like today and yesterday on the internet, where how many of you guys saw the memes? I ain't fucking dying for Israel. Like, I've seen like fucking 50 of these memes. But there's a lot, and they're popular too. A lot of people feel that way.
Among Israelis,
it ain't a meme, it's the truth. I mean, I agree. I mean, with the amount of drone warfare and the amount of technology we have, why the fuck would we send our people over there? It's ridiculous.
They believe that this needed to happen to prevent Iran from developing their nuclear capabilities even further. Of course, this also comes at the same time as we were expecting to see more negotiations take place. Of course, those will not be taking place in the same way that there had been hopes that they would. Diplomatically, of course, we expect to see more conversations to try to bring people back to the negotiation table and bring down the temperature here in the Middle East.
Well, not back to the negotiation table. We'll bring in new people to the negotiation table. The old people aren't going to be able to come back. Yeah, a little bit different.
Israel wouldn't have attacked if they didn't feel like the time is now, and that is why we are seeing the events unfolding as we did overnight. Alex Hogan live for us in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, a little
Alex,
bit different.
thank you.
Yeah, they're on vacation.
Thanks.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief Dan Hoffman. Dan, it appears that the intel that went into planning this seems to be on par with those pager strikes. In other words, very targeted, very specific. A lot of work went into it prior to the ultimate strikes. What are you hearing from your sources in the intel community as to how Israel pulled this off?
No, it's an extraordinary intelligence success where Israel was able to fuse their intelligence collection and operations on the ground with military operations to target Iran's nuclear facilities, as well as the means that Iran would use to conduct retaliatory operations against Israel. Again, this is what Israel is known for, and the country wouldn't exist if they didn't have this incredibly sophisticated intelligence capability. It's an extraordinary...
It is impressive. I have to say, and I think even people that hate Israel have to say that it is impressive how effective they are. It is.
Success, and it's an ongoing success. Israeli operatives are on the ground inside Iran conducting covert operations even as we speak.
What will the outcome, Dan, of this be? Will this end the evil that is the Iranian Revolution that started in 1979? Do you think that this could lead to regime change? Or will, when the dust settles, will the region remain largely the same?
Well, that's certainly, a question that is worth...
If they kill the main guy, that Khamenei guy, then yeah, I think a change could happen. If he's alive, though, it's not going to happen. As long as he's alive, there's not going to be a change, I think. That's my guess.
Asking at this point, the other more immediate questions are whether Israel has taken out enough of Iran's nuclear program. We've been tracking Israeli strikes on Natanz, as well as Iraq, and potentially Isfahan, but it's Fordo, the underground facility, that I think we need to be focused on as well. And I'm sure there will be questions in the coming hours today about whether Israel has been able successfully to target that site. Doing so through the air, very difficult, but Israel might have been using covert operations as well.
Yeah, as
for long-term regime change, it's certainly possible. But I think at this point we've got to be focused on what looks like an all-out war between these two countries.
Yeah, and to that point, the IA...
I mean, again, like I feel like, I mean, I'm not really, I mean, I don't know, right? I don't live there, but it seems like that guy is the icon of that entire regime. Like he is the icon and the fucking like the I don't know, the main guy, right? He's the main guy of the regime. And so if he's there, then I don't think things are going to change. He's the image of it. Yeah, he's the complete figurehead. Absolutely. I mean, literally.
IAEA
people are walking around with photos of him and shit like that.
There's no increased radiation levels at the Natanz nuclear site after Israel bombed it. Iranian authorities, though, Dan, have also informed the IAEA that the country's Bushehr nuclear power plant hasn't been targeted. So with that in mind, it does seem like there could potentially still be enriched uranium in Iran. And if that's the case, what do they do with it?
Yeah, the Bushehr facility is a civilian facility that the Russians helped to build. And that is the question. Iran is in violation. The IAEA said that Iran was in violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. They've got...
Who could have guessed? What a shock. Wow.
Over 400 kilograms of enriched uranium. No country would have that if they didn't want to develop a nuclear program. And so that is going to be a key issue for Israel and for the international community writ large to verify that Iran no longer has a nuclear capability. And that's what this war is all about for Israel.
Carly asked the question, or at least highlighted Alex Hogan speaking about the question of why now? We've been talking about Iran potentially weaponizing a nuclear weapon for years now. And based upon your sources in the intel community, because I know you're still really tapped into these folks, was the worry, or can you presume that the worry was from Israel that Iran did get really close or acquired that capability to arm a nuclear weapon that could bring massive death and destruction to Israel?
Of course they'd be able to do it eventually.
Look, Iran is a nuclear threshold state, and so there's a confluence, I think, of events here that we've seen. The United States...
I mean, if you were the crazy people in Iran, would you want to make a nuclear bomb? Abso-fucking-lutely. You're surrounded by enemies. You have some of the most powerful enemies in the entire world. You need some form of mutually assured destruction so you don't get killed. Like, absolutely, they're going to try to make a bomb. Obviously, anyone would. Yeah, anybody in their position would do that.
Gave Iran every opportunity to negotiate a way out of this crisis. President Trump had said that he had a roughly 2-month deadline and negotiations had taken place, but it was quite clear that Iran was playing for time and was defiantly opposing any real resolution to this growing crisis. The United States...
I think the implication was that they were just fucking people around to buy for more time with the negotiations, but they never had any intention to negotiate in the first place. And because of that, that's the reason why these attacks happened.
It was willing
or were allowed
to eliminate the sanctions, the onerous sanctions that have crippled Iran's economy in return for Iran giving up their nuclear program, and they never would do that. Simultaneously, Israel had taken out Iran's air defenses a year ago and has decimated Iran's proxy terrorists, which is a means for Iran to mount retaliatory operations. And so I think Israel...
I mean, it's insane. Like, they killed all of the people that were the leaderships of these terrorist organizations. They killed all of them, basically all of them, and all of their icons. And then they took out their fucking Air Force, and now they're bombing the facilities directly. And they're attacking the actual scientists and the military leaders directly and killing them. So it seems like this is a multi-year plan that seems like it's working out in their favor.
That this was the last...
I think that the reason why they haven't killed their main leader, What do you think the probability is that Israel could have killed Khamenei? Like, I think 100%. Guaranteed they could fucking do that. Why did they not do that? Probably because they're afraid that by killing him, it could make him a martyr and it could alienate the country. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah, but like that's my best. It's a warning shot. Yeah, it's the optics of it. Yeah, not the right time. Yeah, he's in a bunker. Wait, he's in a bunker now.
Best chance to eliminate Iran's nuclear program. This is not something that Israel wanted to do, but I don't think they felt like they had any other choice, that this was an existential threat to Israel. And if you look at some of the strikes that Israel has launched on Iran, it's not just against Iran's nuclear program, it's against their missile capability, their nuclear scientists, as well as the head of the IRGC, Hossein Salami. It's just an extraordinary wave of strikes designed to decimate Iran's, not just their nuclear capability, but also their military writ large.
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu said in his address last night, imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat.
I think that's actually the reason why it alienated a lot of American watchers by seeing that address, is that I think it bothers a lot of Americans. And this is, again, I'm speaking for people, but this is, again, my vibe check from what I've seen on the internet. I think a lot of people don't like the fact that Israel seems to directly and intentionally propagandize towards the American people in order to make them sympathetic towards Israel by speaking their language, using metaphors that they would understand, like New Jersey, etc. And this alienates, and it puts a lot of people in America on edge because, again, we just got out of a 20-year war in the Middle East. We don't want to go back. And I think that's the way a lot of people feel too. And I think also this is combined with 2 years now of a lot of coverage of bad things that Israel has done in regards to Palestine as well. So you put all of these things together and you're going to have a lot of people that are just inherently distrustful and negative towards the Israeli government. You guys see what I'm saying? And I think, and then there's one more element of this I'm not talking about. The last element of it that I think is also extremely important is the fact that, I mean, it seems very, very odd, the amount of politicians that seem to do what Israel wants. I think that there's a lot of people that makes them very uncomfortable. Americans, because it's again, we're acting in the best interest of Israel. AIPAC? Yeah, exactly, right? And let me see if I can pull this up and show you guys just as an image for it. And this is it's a bit of a self-report, but and I don't want to derail too much, but I just want to show you guys this because I think that I'm trying to put together the pieces of why this happens. And so you saw this post right here, and this is a post from yesterday that I saw. Prime Minister of Israel. It was also not for nothing that the American administration has taken a step together with us in recent years. We have promoted laws in most U.S. states which determine that strong action is to be taken against whoever tries to boycott Israel. This is from 2020, and I didn't verify this to be true, so this could be a fake tweet. But either way, you see something like this and basically them self-reporting that they're trying to advocate for and change our laws intentionally, right? I mean, and this is going to alienate and bother a lot of Americans because we don't want to be propagandized by a foreign government. It doesn't matter, it being Israel is irrelevant. I think this is just a universal viewpoint.
And it must be stopped, which is exactly what they're aiming to do in this operation they've dubbed Operation Rising Lion, that is expected to last for the next 2 weeks. Dan, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks. Have a good morning.
Is that accurate, do you guys think?
All right, let's bring in Chief Editor for the Middle East Forum, Jim Hansen. Jim, good morning to you. What is your assessment of the success of this Israeli strike?
Yeah.
It's amazing from my perspective. I don't see how you can look at the amount of damage they've done, the decapitation strikes to their military, taking out a lot of the air defenses so they can do follow-on missions, and apparently no losses of aircraft or anything on their side.
Yeah, it's clean sweep. And honestly, it makes, I mean, I don't know how, if I was an Iranian, I would think my government was full of retards. It's pathetic.
it's a long way from a finished game.
Let's be honest.
But this is one heck of a start for Israel to take out the most dangerous enemy in that region.
Jim, is the Ayatollah next on the target list to really facilitate regime change?
I think he has always been on the target list, and I'm sure they went at him last night, and I don't know that he's been seen. So I'm sure if he's alive, he's hiding.
No, they're not. They don't want to kill him. I don't think so. I think they want the people to turn against him, or they just want him to die. I mean, the dude took over. I mean, he had gray hair when he took over. This was like fucking 40 years ago. He's got to be in his 80s, right? He gonna be dead soon. Like, he's 88 years old. Yeah, 86. Yeah, I mean, things like this have a way of working themselves out. So of course they don't want to. Of course they don't want to have that happen.
He may be dead, and he may be a follow-on target. I think what Israel needs to look at right now is how much damage they've done, and they'll get a good look at that during the daylight hours now. Pick their next targets and go ahead and ensure that whatever Iran does, it remains asymmetric. Iran's not an expeditionary military, so they can attack via what's left of their proxies after Iran took out, or Israel took out most of them. But there's not a lot they can do as far as rolling tanks or anything like that. It'll be terrorist attacks, missile strikes, and drones.
Yeah, the Supreme Leader promising a harsh punishment for the attack, but again, we don't know if that came from a proxy or somebody else writing that.
Yeah, and I was wondering, Jim.
Of course they're going to say that. They're going to say that they're going to wipe out Israel. There's going to be consequences. God's reign is coming, and he will judge you harshly, and like the hammer of God. Like, yeah, of course they're going to say all of this stuff, but what the fuck? Like, I mean, yeah, just lying and talking shit. Like, yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't think people are going to take it that seriously.
We've seen a lot of, over the past few years, protests inside Iran, people inside Iran who also want regime change. So how do you think the Iranian people right now are viewing this strike that took out some military sites and military commanders as well?
The Iranian people do not like their leadership. The amount of support is less than 20 to 25% for the regime.
Jesus. Thank God. Thank God. I'm so glad. And you know what, really? I think this is one of the really big things that's caused this to happen is the fucking internet. It's because these guys from Iran can get on the internet and they can see, and this is all over the world, right? They can get on the internet and they can be like, damn, wait, what the fuck? And that, I think, changes everything. Except China? Nah, dude, my understanding with China is that people use VPNs in China and they're against the law in China in the same way that weed is against the law in America. Yeah, right. The
rest of the Iranian people understand that the Islamic Republic, the Ayatollahs, have left them behind the rest of the free world. So they wouldn't mind at all to have a change in government. Now, can they get that together based on this and in the chaos that comes? That's possible, and I hope it does happen. I hope that they do change their government.
I will say that if Israel keeps killing their military leaders, eventually they will destabilize the government enough to where the government can no longer govern the people. Eventually, that will happen.
Thing that could happen is a succession battle. The supreme leader, if he's alive, is very old and feeble. He's going to die. There's already jockeying for position among the people who think they want to succeed him. If they start scrapping...
And I don't think any of the people that are going to take his position have the same type of figurehead status and, appeal that he did. Everybody there knows him. And
the Iranian people get their game together, we all might be better off with anyone but them in charge in that country.
I'm glad you opened the door to jockeying a position because, yes, they may be happening with regard to the ultimate leader of Iran, but it's also potential for happening with who's in charge of the IRGC because, as we've reported, Salami, who replaced Qasem Soleimani, was killed last night. So, one, is there a name that you are looking for to step up and take that position? But a follow-on question is, who wants that position at this point, knowing that
Bro, like, all right. Yeah, so the last two guys got blown up by missile strikes that hit their apartment in a surgical strike that was planned from satellites. Who's next? Who wants to sign up next?
Israelis just wiped
out pepperoni next? Yeah.
Out basically the top four. Who wants to step up and take that position next?
Yeah, you look at Hezbollah's leadership chart with all those X's over the people who were running that operation. They're all dead. It's like the joke used to be that you don't want to be the number 2 guy for Al Qaeda in Iraq because we kept killing him. I don't know.
Yeah, they just keep getting them.
That anybody wants it. And we heard that there was a strike on a meeting of IRGC leadership. So we don't even know who's left.
Listen to them celebrating extrajudicial killings. Like, I love how you're trying to like intellectualize the idea of killing a literal militaristic terrorist leader. Yeah, I think people are pretty happy whenever they have someone who is a leader of a terrorist organization that oppresses people that gets killed. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's a bit of a W, guys.
Which would be phenomenal. The more of them who are dead, the less capable the rest will be. And the response from Iran will be, because of that, more splintered and less dangerous. So we're nowhere near out of the woods. This is just the opening salvo in what will be a couple weeks of battle. But it's not going to be a war. It's not going to be a ground war. It's not going to be a forever war or any of those things. And at this point, the U.S. is not involved. And I think Israel is handling its business quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it is really brilliant on the part of the Israelis, if you think about it, Jim, because they didn't just target the nuclear sites or the missiles. It also seems like they pre-planned this, took out the people who would have the power to call for retaliation in an orderly manner. Yep. So clear chaos inside Iran.
And honestly, I bet, like, if I was in leadership over in Iran, I'd be stressed out. I would be so stressed out. Like, really, I mean, because it's like now it's, oh, shit. Now it's you. Like, what do you think's going to Yeah, who the fuck wants to replace these guys after they keep getting killed every single time? Bro, the U.S. media is crazy, not a single counter-argument. This is propaganda-level bullshit. Well, I mean, okay, we'll look and see if there's anything from CNN after this. I'm sure they're going to promote this instead.
Let me see what that retaliation looks like. Do you think that this is the most significant move, Jim, that Israel has made since October 7th?
By far. This was always the existential threat, because this was not just a threat to Israel, as some people like to pretend. Having an apocalyptic death cult like the Islamic Republic Ayatollahs in control of nuclear weapons was intolerable for the free world.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees on that. I think even the people that might not like want to help them do the strike, they're glad it happened.
They could have hit Israel. They could have hit us. They could have just basically any nuclear detonation anywhere throws the world into chaos. So, yes, Israel has done the world a favor. We're a safer place right now, even with the chaos and the danger that's going to come because of this, just by having slowed this down. And they're not going to be able to rebuild it, because as soon as they start rebuilding, Israel will have more bombs and will take them out again if they have to.
Yeah, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday said,
remember, at a certain point, they want to rebuild it, just get bombed again.
Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan, which was a very good reminder on the part of the Prime Minister. Jim Hansen live for us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, Israel is the death cult. Well, Israel has a Samson
I'm Steve
option.
Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
I'm not saying I agree with them on this, right? I'm not saying this is. I don't think it's a death cult or anything. I just think they're a bunch of crazy psychos. Like, that's it. I mean, I don't think there's any. is there really a lot of argument there? I mean, that the people that are doing this are psychos? I mean, they obviously are.